Hello, and welcome to this quick start session for IBM SPSS Statistics. My name is Astrid Cook, and I'm an analyst here at version 1. So there's a number of things we want to show you in this quick start series. The first thing we want to show you is how to bring your data into IBM SPSS Statistics and save it as an SPSS file. We want to show you how to run one-touch descriptive statistics. We also need to show you how to adjust labels and values and use copy data properties. We want to show you how to examine your data using the Overview tab. We'll point you to the menus, so we'll show you the Descriptive Statistics menu. We'll show you other menus in IBM SPSS Statistics. We'll show you automatic code generation, some quick graphs and tables, and we'll run a simple analysis. So now let's get started and let's see how all this works in IBM SPSS Statistics. So I'm in IBM SPSS Statistics. I've opened the tool, but there's no data sitting in here. Now I want to bring in data from an Excel spreadsheet. So let me show you how to do that. I'm going to go to the File menu here, click on it, go to Open, and just select Data. Now this will bring up the Open Data window. Now you'll see there's a file here called .sav. That's an SPSS file. Now, this is information from 2023. Now, I want to go to Files of Type, click on the drop-down, select Excel, and here's the data that I want to bring in. So I went to Files of Type, clicked on Excel. I can now see the Excel file that I need. When I click on the file name, it fills out the file name box, and I'll click on Open. Now, it doesn't bring in the data immediately. So it opens a Read Excel file dialog box. You'll select the worksheet. In this particular file, there's only one worksheet. You can take the option to read variable names from the first row of data. You can see the variable names are there. Now, if I turn this off, then we would just have V1, V2, V3. If I turn it back on, it reads the variable names. I can determine the percentage of values that determine data type. I can ignore hidden rows and columns. And if I've got string data, I can remove leading and trailing spaces. All I want to do is click OK. And now I've brought the data into IBM SPSS Statistics. Now I wanted to show you something. If you look at the top, it's called Untitled. It doesn't have a name, so I need to save this file. So to save it, I'll go to the File menu, come down to Save As, and I'll just call this Employee Data. Employee Data 2024. I'll click on Save because I'm saving it as an SPSS Statistics file, so I'll click on Save. And now you can see the file has the name Employee Data 2024. So let's talk about the user interface before we get into analyzing the data. So if I come down, there are three tabs. There's the Data View, the Variable View, and the Overview tab. So I'll start on the Data View. This shows you your data. If I click on the Variable View, this will give me information about my variables. I can see the short variable name. I can see how the data has been typed. Now, if I take my cursor and I just click in the cell here to the right, it opens up a variable type window. Now, the data is numeric, but you can have other variable types in SPSS. I can see the width, the decimals. The label is the longer description of the variable. So salary, here, the label could be current salary of employee. Values are any values that are specified on a variable. Missing is any information that should be treated as missing. And then we have measurement type, and I'll talk about measurement type in just a moment. So variable view holds information about your variables. Data view shows you your data. So why is variable view important? Why is getting all of this information about the variables important? Well, let me show you why. So if I click on job category, Now, this is information about employees. We have their education. We have their current salary, their beginning salary. We have the amount of time they've been working for us. We have information about their previous experience. Now, eventually, we want to understand what's associated with their current salary. But if we look at job category, and I just highlight the row, and I come up to the button here, this is one-touch descriptive statistics, but if I click on this button, it's going to run a table and give me a bar chart. So let me click on it. And here we have information on job category. So we have job category 1. There are 363 employees here. That's 76.6% of the data file. Job category 2 has 27. Job category 3 has 84. But the question is, what do these numbers represent? What does the number 1 represent? Is that our clerical employees? Is that our custodial employees? Is that our managerial employees? So quite often with data, we have numeric codes that represent categories. Now, when I ran this output, it opened up an output file. So for the moment, I want to go up here and just close out of it. We're not going to use this output. What I want to do is put more information into job category. And to do that, I'm going to go to the data menu. I'll click on it, and I want to define variable properties. Now this brings up the define variable properties dialog box. I'll take job category and move it into the variables to scan area and click on continue. Now I can see the current variable name here. For the label, I'll call this employee job category. So this label gives more information about the variable. And then I can see the values down here. So these are my clerical employees. These are my custodial employees, and these are my managers. You can see I've put labels on those numbers. Now the measurement level is here as well. So this is nominal because it's just data in categories. You've got 3 categories of employees, 3 job types. I'm going to click OK. And now you can see that job category has a longer label, and each value has a description. It has a label. So when I click on that row, go to one-touch descriptive statistics, now I can see that I have 363 clerical employees, 27 custodial employees, 84 managerial employees. So that's a much clearer view of this variable. Again, this is an output file, so I'm going to go up here. I want to close out of it. I'm not going to keep this for now, because what I want to do is I want to label everything up. I want to label every variable. Now, this information, which came from an Excel file, is from 2024, but I have a previous SPSS file from 2023 that has all of this information in it. So I'm going to go to Data, and I'm going to go to Copy Data Properties. I'll go to an external file, and I just need to go find that file. Here it is. This is the data from 2023. I'll click on Open, and then I'll click on Next. And it says we're going to apply properties from the selected source dataset variables to matching active dataset variables. So this dataset that I have open is my active dataset. This is the dataset that I'm working in. Now, this is the dataset that I just selected. So this is the data from 2023. There are 7 variables. There are 7 matching variables in my 2024 dataset. I'll click on Next. I want to bring across everything that's in the data from 2023 into the data from 2024. So this is all of these labels, these values, any missing that have been specified. I'll click on Next. I'm just going to click on Finish, and you can see the data is now labeled up. So now I can see each field, and I can see job category here. Now, if I go to this button called Value Labels, I'll click on it. Do you see, you can see the description for job category. So this respondent is a manager, this respondent is clerical. I can click on this again and I can see the numeric codes. So I can see all of my information. I can see the information about my variables. And since I've made these changes, I just want to save this. So I'll go here on the toolbar and I'll just save this. So now I'm ready to examine this data file. A helpful tool to examine my data is the Overview tab. So let me click on it, and here it is. Now, when you look at the Overview tab, there's a number of sections. So we'll start over here. This will show me the data set name. I have 7 variables or 7 columns and 474 cases or rows. We have the measurement level section. So I have 5 scale variables, 1 ordinal variable, and 1 nominal variable. Click on the data view. A scale variable is a variable like salary. So that's just numeric data. And you can see in the data set where you see the ruler, that has been typed as scale. That's a numeric variable. And we have 5 scale variables. When you see the little bar chart, that's ordinal. So that's data in ordered categories. When you see the 3 bubbles, that's nominal. So nominal data is data that's in categories, but there's no order. So if you think of a satisfaction scale from 1 to 5, it's data in categories, but there's order there, versus job category, which is 3 categories, but there's no order. So the Overview tab shows me the number of variables for each measurement level. Now, there's an arrow button here. If I click on it, it will take me to the variable view. I can go back to the Overview tab. Now here it will give me a summary of missing values. So it will show me missing across variables or columns, missing across cases or rows, and missing across values. Now our data set is complete, but this arrow takes you to a procedure where it will give you a summary of missing values and it will show you variables with the highest frequency of missing values. So this is actually quite useful if you had a data set with a lot of variables and missing data, you could quickly determine which variables had the most missing data. Down here we have a variable report. So if I click on job category, you can see I have 363 employees who are clerical, 27 who are custodial, 84 who are managers. I can go up to the chart format button and I can click on it and I can see the percent. So I can see 76.6% of my employees are clerical. You also receive the same information over here. So it shows me the values 1, 2, and 3. So 1 are my clerical employees, 2 are custodial, 3 are managers. I have 363 clerical employees. That's 76%. Of course, I can come down and I can look at current salary. And here it gives me a histogram. And it will show me the number of valid cases, number of missing, the average salary overall. So the average salary is $34,419. I can see the standard deviation. The minimum salary is here, $15,750, and the maximum is here, $135,000. You can also see percentiles. Now, this variable report section will show you every single variable in your data set. But it's also very useful because if I click on job category, the button here will go to frequency. So if I click on it, it opens up the frequencies dialog box. The variable is there. If I click OK, it will give me a frequencies table. So I can see the counts, the percent. Valid percent is the percentage if there's missing data, and cumulative percent. Again, I don't want to keep this output for now, so I'm going to close out of this. Now, if it's ordinal or nominal, when you click on this button, it will take you to frequencies. If I'm looking at current salary, and I click on this button, it's going to take me to exploratory data analysis. Now here for statistics, I can ask for a table of outliers. I'll click on the plots button. I'd like to see a histogram instead of stem and leaf. And I'd also like normality plots with tests. So I'm going to click continue. Here I'm looking at current salary, and I'm going to click OK. Now this runs exploratory data analysis of current salary. So this is an output file. Here we can see the average overall. It also gives me a 95% confidence interval for the mean. So I can examine the confidence interval. It will show me the 5% trim mean. So this is the mean with the 5% highest and lowest cases taken out. The median score, I can see standard deviation, minimum and maximum values for skewness and kurtosis. The extreme values, when I ask for outliers, it will show me highest and lowest. So the 5 highest and the 5 lowest. I can see them here. And tests of normality will tell me if this field is normally distributed. So it runs 2 tests, as you can see. But if you get a significant test, then actually the data is not normally distributed. And we can see that here. So it gives me a histogram. So this data is skewed. If we look at current salary, many of our employees are earning sort of between 20,000, maybe up to about 30,000, but you can see we have a few in the higher range. You'll get QQ plots, and then of course it will give you a box plot. So this is a deep dive on this variable. I'm going to close out of my output. But the overview allows you to see your data and to examine your data. So you can examine every single field, and you can, if you choose, run an analysis like exploratory data analysis, or if it's a nominal or ordinal variable, you can run frequencies. So we've explored our data and now we're ready to analyze it. But before we do that, I just want to show you the user interface. So SPSS is a menu-driven program. So across the top, we have menus. So if I click on the File menu, you can see you can open a new data file. So this would open a new blank data file. You could open a new syntax file. So this just opens up a blank syntax file. I'll talk about this in just a moment. Or you could open up a new output file. So whenever we ran an analysis and it was giving us tables and charts, that's the output file. You can open existing files. You can save your data, save your work. Down here as well, there's a welcome dialog. If you click on that, there are, I should say, sample data files you can explore. There'll be also information on new features in the tool if you want to go have a look at that. But the file menu allows you to open files. It allows you to save files. Edit allows you to cut, copy, paste. View, we have options to manage toolbars. The data menu is anything we do to transform our data, such as validating our data, identifying duplicate cases, identifying unusual cases. We can merge data files. So you can merge files on a variable or you can add files. Down here, you also have things like splitting your data files, selecting cases. You can weight your data. But you can see there's a number of procedures here that are going to help you manage your data. Now, we use defined variable properties. If you remember, we defined the categories of job category. And then we did copy data properties where we took all of the properties from a previous year, all the information about the variables, so things like the names and the labels, and we just copied it across to this file. Transform menu transforms your data. Here you have things like computing new variables. So here you can create new variables in your data set. You can recode your data. You have things like binning. And you also have things like a date and time wizard. You can replace missing values. So transform options transform your data. Probably the most commonly used, items on here are compute variable, because you can create new variables, recoding, and then visual binning, where we take a numeric field and we turn it into a new field with categories. Analyze is where we have all of our analysis. So we have descriptive statistics here. So you have things like frequencies, descriptives, exploratory data analysis is here. You have tables, you can run custom tables. You have the means menu. So here you can run a means table. You've got independent samples t-tests, summary independent samples t-test. You've got paired samples t-test, one-way ANOVA. GLM, you have univariate, multivariate, repeated measures, models. For example, you've got your correlation menu here, your regression menu. Down here, I've got neural networks, options for classification. So there are machine learning algorithms here. Options for dimension reduction. So this is factor analysis, correspondence analysis, and optimal scaling. Forecasting, survival analysis, missing value analysis. So you can see there's quite a lot on the Analyze menu. Graphs are here. Utilities are useful tools. Extensions are additional things that you can add into SPSS, so additional programs. What does that mean? Well, if you look at my Analyze menu and you come down to Descriptive Statistics, there's something here called Text Analysis. And this is an extension. I just added this in, and this will analyze open-ended comments. So you can see there's a lot of tools that you can add into SPSS. If I come down to my Analyze menu and I show you my regression menu, do you see where there are pluses? These are all of the things that you can add into SPSS from the extensions menu. And you can just add those in. All you need to do is just tick Get Extension, and it will download and install it for you. So that's a quick overview. Now, to analyze my data, I could go to the Analyze menu, go to Descriptive Statistics. I'll start by selecting frequencies. I've moved job category into the variables box, but I'll move education. Now, this time I do want to create some outputs. So I'm going to ask for statistics. I want the modal category. For charts, I want bar charts, and I want to see percentages. And then I want to format my output. I want everything in descending counts in the table and in the graphs. I want to organize my output by variables. I'll click Continue, and then I'll click OK. And now you can see I have my output. Now, I opened up a syntax window. If I go back into that procedure that I just ran, so I went to this button, this is dialog recall. Let me show you that again. This is dialog recall. I go back to the procedure that I just ran. If I click on paste, it will automatically write all the code for that procedure into that syntax file. So let's have a look at that. And here's the syntax. Now, if I just highlight this, I can click on the Run Selection button, and it runs it again. So what I've just done is I've written the code for that frequencies procedure. I'm running frequencies on job category and education. I can now save this file and run this procedure again at a later date. Now on the Analyze menu, we have the option to run descriptives. So I'll go Analyze, Descriptive Statistics, select Descriptives, and I can look at salary, that's current salary, beginning salary, job time, previous experience. For options, I want the average for each of these. I want the minimum and the maximum values and the standard deviation. I'll click Continue, and I'll click OK. And you can see it gives me my descriptive statistics table. Now, if I want to paste the syntax, I can use the dialog recall. Just pick this up again and click on Paste, and that will paste all of the code to run this procedure into my syntax file. Now, if I want to, for example, run exploratory data analysis, I'll go to the Analyze menu, go to Descriptive Statistics, and click on Explore. And you can see I've moved salary across, Statistics, I can ask for outliers, so I ticked outliers. Plots, I've ticked histogram and normality plots with tests. I can click OK and run that, or I can click on paste, and that will automatically write all that code into my syntax file. So you can see if you're working in SPSS, you have the option of going to the dialog box and setting it up. So if I just reset, I'll clear everything out, but you select the variable, move it into the variables box, select any options that you want. So I want bar charts with percentages. Select any options for formatting. I want this in descending counts. I can click on OK, and that will run it. And I'll have my output. Or I can click on paste, and it automatically writes the code for that. Let's go back to the syntax file. So now you see the syntax file, and now you see all of the code that I have in the syntax file. If I highlight this, I can just click on the green arrow, run that, and that will give me all of my output. And here you see my output. Now in the output file, you'll notice that it gives you an outline. So if we start at the top, we can see we've got descriptive statistics. Then we have frequencies. We have more descriptives, and we have exploratory data analysis, and then another frequencies procedure. So you can see that I now have all of my output. Now I'm going to close out of this. I'll go back into my syntax file. I'll get rid of anything that I don't want. And then if I want to save this, I'll go to File, Save As, and I can call this Descriptives. And I'll click on Save. So we've run some analysis, and we've actually been able to paste our code to automatically write the code and run it. Let's talk about graphs. Now, I'm interested in current salary, and I want to look at beginning salary, current salary, and job category together. So I'm going to go to the Graphs menu, click on it, and select Chart Builder. Now, this lets me know that before I use this dialog, measurement levels should be set properly for each variable in the chart. And if you have categorical variables, so again, nominal and ordinal variables, value labels should be defined for each category. So I'm going to click OK, and this brings up Chart Builder. Now down here, if I click on the Gallery tab, you can see we have selections for bar chart, pie, scatter dot, histogram, box plot. But really to get started, if I select histogram and I hover my cursor over any one of these icons, it will give me a description of them. So I'm going to take this up. The simple histogram, I'm just going to drag it up into the chart preview area. And I'm going to take current salary and drop it down on the x-axis and ask to display the normal curve. And then I'll click OK. And now you can see we have a histogram of current salary, and we have a normal curve as well. And of course, we see that the data is not normally distributed. Now I can go back to the Graphs menu and bring back up Chart Builder. I'll click on Reset because that's going to clear everything out. If I use a scatter dot, and I will come up and pick up the scatter plot and drag it into the chart preview area. And I'm going to take beginning salary and move it down on the x-axis, and current salary and place it on the y. Now, I can also ask for a linear fit line. And I want to set color using job category. And then I'll click OK. And what you see is a scatter plot of beginning salary and current salary, but we can also see the different job categories in here. So obviously, managers are up here, higher salary. Down here, we can see clerical, custodial are here in the middle. You can also see it gives us a fit line. So the R-square linear is 0.775. So if we look at the correlation between these two variables and square that, that gives us this value of R squared. So it's saying that beginning salary explains about 77% of current salary. So you can see there's a strong relationship between these two variables, but you do notice that when we get up into the higher range of salary, and here we're looking mostly at managers, the relationship tends to fall apart. But you can see that I was able to run a histogram and a scatter plot. Now, if I go back to graphs and chart builder and I click OK, you can also see that you have box plots here. You also have bar. So you have things like simple arrow bar chart. But one of the things that people often want to do is evaluate a number of variables together. Now to do that, I'm going to go to the graphs menu and I'm going to come down to graph board template chooser. I want to look at salary, your current salary, your beginning salary, job time, and previous experience, and I want to run a scatter plot matrix. And under options for the style sheet, I want it to be gray. And then when I'm ready, I'll click OK. Now this is actually really useful because at the top we've got current salary. Again, we see that relationship with beginning salary. It looks like it's, again, a linear relationship, but you can see it falls apart at the higher values. Months since hire, we can see the relationship, and previous experience, we can see the relationship as well. So the scatter plot matrix is a great way to see the relationships between your variables. And here, of course, we can see the relationship between beginning salary and months since hire and previous experience. So you can evaluate all of these variables together. Now, custom tables can be very useful, or even running a table of averages can be useful. So if I go to the Analyze menu and I come down to Tables and I go to Custom Tables, again, it's letting me know that value labels should be defined for all categorical variables. That's why when we first started this demonstration, I made sure that job category had labels. So I'm just going to click OK. I'll take job category and drag it up into the columns. And I want to move salary and beginning salary into the rows. You can see I just dragged those in. So I'll just take beginning salary, drag that in. And I dragged it under current salary. I'll click on current salary, click on summary statistics, and I'll change the format because I'd like to see 2 decimals. So I want a numeric format. You see your options down here. I'll apply to all, click close, and when I'm ready, I'll click OK. This gives me a nice table where I can compare salary across categories of jobs. So you can see the average current salary for my clerical employees is $27,838. It's $30,938 for my custodial employees. It's $63,000 up here for my managers. And we can see the beginning salary here. So that's an easy way to run a table. You could also go to the Analyze menu, come down to Compare Means and Proportions and select Means, and move job category into the independent list, salary and beginning salary into the dependent list. For options, I'll take out number of cases, and I can just ask for average. I'll click continue, and I'll click OK. And you can see you get a similar table. So I'm looking at my clerical employees. I can see their current salary versus their beginning salary. Custodial, I can see their current salary versus their beginning salary. And in this table, you can read it 2 ways because I can read it within clerical. So I can see the change for my clerical employees from the current salary, or really from the beginning salary to the current salary. And I can also look at it down each column. So if I look at beginning salary, I can see the beginning salary for each employee category. Now, if I want to examine the relationship between beginning salary and current salary, I could run correlations. So I could go to the Analyze menu, come down to Correlate, and run correlations. I could also run a simple linear regression. So if I click on linear, you can see I've set the dialog box up here, but I've moved current salary into the dependent variable box, and I've moved beginning salary into the independent variable area. And I can ask for statistics. I can ask for descriptives and model fit. And then when I'm ready, I can click OK. Now, the regression gives you quite a lot of output because it will give you, first of all, a table of correlation. So we can see the correlation here between these two variables. The model summary table will show us the adjusted R-square, so 0.774. This is the variance that is explained in current salary by beginning salary. And finally, down here, we have the coefficients table. First of all, we can see that beginning salary is a significant predictor of your current salary. We see the coefficient here, the value is 1.9. What this means is that for every additional dollar you earn on beginning salary, you earn 1.9 more on your current salary. So now let's pull everything together. Now, if you look, I have a syntax file open. So this is called employee data syntax. And I've put all of the procedures that we've covered in this quick start. So the frequencies procedure is here, descriptives is here, exploratory data analysis is here. I've run a series of charts. I've run custom tables. Here we're running a means table, and finally regression. So all I need to do to run all of this is go to the Run menu and run all. And it will generate all of my output. What I'm going to do is just show you the output file. So you can see it's got every procedure. So frequencies, descriptives, explore. If I click on a procedure, I can actually see it. So this is a histogram. This is here a scatter plot. So you click on it, it will take you to the output. Here I have my custom tables, my table of means, correlations, ANOVA coefficients. So this is the regression output. So I've got all of my output. Now, again, I can save this. So if I go to File, Save As, I can save it as Employee Output, and then just click on Save. The other thing you can do as well that's actually very useful is highlight your output. Do you see how I clicked right at the top? So let me show you what that looks like again. Go to the very top of your output, click on the yellow box at Output, and do you see how it highlights everything? If you right-click, you can export all of this out to, for example, a PDF file, or maybe you want to send it to a Word document. But I'm going to export it out to a PDF file. I'm going to call it Employee Data Output. And then I'll click OK and run that. Now that exports all of this output out. And let's see what that looks like in the PDF format. So here you can see my output. So this is everything that we've run on this data set. Again, you can see I've got histograms, scatter plot, the matrix, custom tables, and regression. So there are resources available to help you when you're working in IBM SPSS Statistics. At version 1, we have a Learning Hub archive. So you can go there and you can actually get tutorials, webinars, and tech tips. Now the tech tips are a great place to start. So these will give you tips to avoid any stumbling blocks when you're working. They will show you how to do things such as run graphs, how to run certain types of analyses, so we can get you working on your data quickly so that you can get the most out of SPSS. Now, when you go to the tech tips, you will see, for example, you can run a heat map. So if you're interested in running a heat map, you can click on this. You'll see a slide share. You can download the slides, and you can also watch a video. So don't forget that help is available. So that's everything we wanted to show you today. If you want more information, you can visit our website at www.spssanalyticspartner.com. So thanks for watching, and bye for now.